Solid 7. Grunt, grunt, grunt. Okay, you're not going to believe how different the Manticore is compared to the Legend on this one.
Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day.
What I want to do today is swing the field with the Manticore, see if we can find some deep signals that we've missed. Last time I was there, I did get a silver coin, and I want to grab the Legend once we find one of those signals and just see, does the Legend hit those deep signals that we know the Equinox 600 couldn't do. The Manticore was going down a couple inches past what the 600 could reach. So is that the same case with the Legend? I don't think so, but we're gonna test it out. So the last 2 hunts I did, I used the Legend, guys, and I immediately was having a much better experience than I've been having with the Manticore. I just find the Manticore runs hot. It gives false signals all the time on nails, you know, gives a coin signal. And I really enjoyed using the Legend again. I hadn't used it all summer. So as I was just mentioning, you know, we could look for deep coins and compare the two. We could also compare the two next time the Manticore gives me a crappy signal that I suspect is really an iron nail that it's saying is a coin, and we can see what the Legend is telling us that item is. Let's do that as well. Okay, first signal we're gonna check out on the Manticore. Right up into the 70s, 73, 70, 77. Not a consistent signal. 50s right to the 70s. And you can see that it's above the non-ferrous line, so not a coin. But I want to check out what this is. We'll see what the Legend shows. Remember, this scale goes from 0 to 100 on the Minelab. Okay, on the Legend, we have a scale of 0 to 60. We're in field, ground mode, multi 3. And on the Manticore, we're just in general, which is multi general. Signal is coming up much more like iron with this machine. It's showing iron on this side here. Very broken. Okay, and there it is. Down there 4 inches, 5 inches, a screw. There is rust on it, but it's not like an iron nail, so there's definitely, these will definitely ring up higher. So not a great signal, but I guess we have the comparison between the two machines. But I wouldn't say that either machine got fooled. It was junk, and both of them were kind of reading like it was junk. Okay, so I'm getting quite a bit of interference on both machines in multi. So I've lowered the power on the Minelab down to 20. I usually run around 24. It's a hot machine, but here's a low one. Probably like a tinfoil or something, right down there, 5-6 inches on the low end on the ferrous scale, showing that it is non-ferrous. Probably a tinfoil. Let's see what the Legend reads that like. Okay, so the Legend is giving us a low number, 9, 10, 13. Not as low as the Manticore. We wouldn't dig that, of course. But it becomes much more interesting when you're using the Manticore and you've got that 2D screen. And the 2D screen is showing you that it's a non-ferrous item, right? That's why I tend to dig a lot more of that stuff with that machine. And there it is, guys, down there 3 inches, a piece of tinfoil. I have to say that the Manticore really picked that up a lot better than the Legend. The Legend, it was kind of iffy, not showing a great number. And with the screen on the Manticore, you could really see that there was a non-ferrous item there, and it was banging over it every time, you know, 4 or 6. Now that's tinfoil, but would the machines do the same on a gold ring that rings up on that exact same spot, you know, a 4 to 6? Because there is gold that rings up there. And I mean, chances of me ever finding a piece to test with both machines is pretty slim. But hey, if it's doing it on tinfoil, can we suppose that we're going to get the same result with gold that rings up in that range? That the Legend would have a hard time hitting that? Now they are coming out with new firmware, I saw, and Mike over on Iffy Signals was testing for small pieces of gold down there 2 inches, I think it was, and they they had new firmware coming out. It's in beta right now to improve the legend on those low-end signals. So I'm not running that beta on mine. It's just whatever the last full update was, that's what we've got on the legend. Okay, next signal is a solid 59. And we can see it's right on the edge of iron, where nails and stuff should be. It sounds great on the headphones, but if you look at where it is in the number, it's not great. Okay, so the legend is screaming iron. Low tone, 7, 8. Grunt, 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 iron. So why? Remember, our scale here is 0 to 60. Why are we getting a 7 on this machine and we're getting a 60 out of 100 on the other machine? Let's dig this and see what it is. Okay, so I see it right there in the hole, guys. It is a galvanized screw. So I would say that the Manticore actually got that more right than the legend. If I were just digging with the legend, I would have supposed that that was just a straight iron nail down there giving me a 7. This should ring up, you know, high 50s, low 60s. And that the Manticore got that right. I own both of these machines, guys, so I'm not picking on one or the other. I'm learning here as you guys are learning. I got to point out that I think the Manticore scored the win on that hole. It, you know, galvanized should ring higher than an iron rusty nail. Pretty solid signal though on both machines. So if it's an iron rusty nail, you know it kind of bounces around more. So I guess that's a clue too. I feel that was more on the Manticore, more a correct reading, you know, in the higher, like more than halfway through the scale. Okay, this one's reading just under the surface, 55 to mid 50s to low 60. 35, 36 on the legend. So they're both reading about the same, a little more than half on their scales. And there it is, an old chunk of sheet metal. That hole is a draw. It sounded like it was going to be, you know, pop can or something like this with both machines, so pretty similar. Okay, oddly enough, we're getting, you know, low 30 reading, but we are getting a depth scale here, saying 10 inches. Now remember, I've lowered the machine all the way down to 20. We're also picking up the item right there on the edge of a nail, so it's definitely more of a ferrous than a non-ferrous. Let's turn the power up on this. It doesn't really change too much. Okay, here's one I picked up with the Manticore. It was showing deep. So mid 20s, low 30s. We're not even getting a depth reading on it. It's not indicating iron. Okay, and there it is. That's a 32 special. Very similar to a 30-30 shell. Down there, only about 6 inches. Maybe a little more, maybe 7 inches. I would have to say again, that's kind of a draw. Both machines. We did get more information though from the Manticore because of the 2D screen. Okay. Here's one that's trying to come down onto the non-ferrous line, but it's not. It's getting into the low 70s though. Again, it has that same scritchy sound to it. I've seen teens, 20s, 30s. I don't know what that is. Let's dig it. A bolt. That's what that is. The only thing I can say that we're learning so far is that if it sounds like crap on one machine, sounds like crap on the second machine, it's gonna be crap. Okay, so we got one here that might be a nickel. Pull tab nickel, gold, and it's deep, showing 10 inches. Let's see what the legend does with that. Okay, 22. So pretty solid signal. Again, we're not getting any depth on there. Wow, could this video get any more boring? That's it right there. When I swing that over the coil, it was down there 6 inches. It's like powdery. I don't even know what kind of metal that is. It comes up 24. Also to note, just because I'm doing this test and handling both machines back and forth, I can tell you guys that the Manticore with the 15-inch coil is lighter than the Legend. The Legend, even though it has carbon fiber shaft, the bottom half, with the stock coil on it, is heavier than the Manticore. Solid pull tab signal here. 36, 37, 38. Okay, 30 to 33 on the Legend. All right, there it is. Mid-60s pull tab. Both machines get a point on that one. That was a pretty easy one. I'm really hoping to hit a deep coin signal, something that I can say, you know, I know that's a coin down there 9-10 inches, which we've pulled a lot of coins, probably 60-70 coins with the Manticore at that depth this year so far, and I just haven't been testing it against the Legend. So guys, I'm trying, but there's not a lot of coins left out here. There's a better signal. I would say probably a coin. Why that's not down there on that line, I don't know. Sounds great. It's ringing up 60s, 70s, 80s. 29, 28. That is definitely... Okay, there might... Right beside it, there might be two things in this hole. Okay, no. Manticore is saying 2 items as well. The one on the right is a little higher. Okay, so when I first went over this, I zoomed right in on this signal and I was like, oh, nice. But there is a slightly lower one right beside it, which both machines are picking up. Okay, and here is the lower tone of the two. So we're gonna dig a coin basically right out of here now. And then the high tone that we were getting off the end of the bolt. Rusty old nail. Both machines get a fail on that hole. An item beside an item, and they both messed it up. They were getting a high false signal off this nail. Okay, the final test of the evening is, I've already been doing it for 15 minutes. I haven't filmed any of it. I'm over in the nail bed area, and the Manticore is ringing up, you know, every 2 feet, a mid-50s signal. Those are nails. I'll just show you a couple of them. I'll flip it around and we'll just move 5 feet and I'll show you that they're here. I've been doing this for 15 minutes. I dug a few. They're all rusty nails. I want to see what the Legend does. Is it ringing up? So the equivalent of a 50 on this machine is a 30. So is that going to ring up a bunch of 30? I don't think it is. I don't think it does. I don't ever remember it going off all the time in the nail bed. It just knocks those nails out. And I'm even running the stabilizer on level 2 right now. Okay, so there's a nail right here, 52, 56, 50. Okay, we'll move a couple of feet. No doubt I will find another one. Something right there, probably another nail, but not ringing into the 50s. Most of them are ringing up into the 50s. There's one right there. Mid 50s. They're all over. Like, I could just keep... I mean, the ground is very much full of junk, but these mid 50s are all nails. I dug 5 of them earlier. Okay, and in the same area here with the Legend. Not really hitting. Okay. Some iron there. But it is not coming up every 3 feet with a mid. And then I say that. Very sketchy signal. All over. A couple of nails there. In itself, right there is the issue with the Manticore, is you're getting these mid 50s to 60 signals that sound solid. They sound fantastic. I mean, they don't look that great on the ID scale. They bounce around, but they're way more solid than they should be for a rusty old nail. That's the issue that I'm having with that machine. You're like, well, it's so clean, it sounds so clean, I have to dig it. Whereas with the Legend, you're like, nope, this is crap, that's crap, moving on. There's no good signals coming through strong. You just keep moving. Are we missing stuff with the Legend? I don't know. It's hit on every item that that machine has hit on tonight that we dug when we did our tests. And, you know, we got this signal with this machine, this signal with this machine. It didn't miss any of them, so, you know, and it's a $1,500 cheaper machine. Okay, here is another absolutely weird. Solid 7. Grunt, grunt, grunt. Okay, you're not going to believe how different the Manticore is compared to the Legend on this one. Okay, same signal, Manticore. Look at that. What is going on between these two machines? You've got one ring in a solid 62 right here, and then this one reading a solid 7 iron. I don't know what it is, but this machine... I mean, something is off, guys, between these two. So earlier I said that on the galvanized screw, the Manticore beat the Legend because it rang in higher. This time it absolutely got its butt whipped by the Legend, because look at the size of that rusty nail right there. A great big old rusty spike. And that is the problem that we're having with the Manticore. It's reading this stuff as good, and it's not. It's junk. The Legend, kudos to you, you got that right. Oh, Manticore, you couldn't have been any more wrong on that. Okay guys, so I'm going to end this test here, but what I am going to do is go to the coin field and take these two machines and find some deep coins with the Manticore in the next video and see if the Legend can hit on them as well, because like I say, there's a $1,500 price difference between these two machines and not a whole lot of difference in how they work in the field. I would say that the Manticore gets the stronger signals, a little more precise usually, until it comes to this iron. It's got a severe iron problem, which the Legend just doesn't have. And the beautiful thing about the Legend is they're still putting out software updates, you know, a year and a half after I bought the thing. The Manticore's been out over a year. It hasn't had a software update since last spring. It's only ever had one, and it was to address this iron problem that it has. And to my knowledge, the way that, you know, the problem I'm having with it, it hasn't been addressed. It's not fixed. I hate how that thing rings up nails. Anyway, stay tuned, guys. We'll catch you in the next adventure.